I had my biggest day of the month, putting up over $1,400 with just 3 trades, 1 loser, 2 wins, and it came off the 15-minute daily VWAP. You saw my last video where I was also trading off the 15-minute price action. When I can't quite get a good read on my 1-minute price action, I take it to the higher time frame, find my best price, and I still trade with the trend. And I want to show you how I do it and how I decide when I should do it, when I should probably stick to my 1-minute, 2-minute chart, the lower time frame ones. So let's get into the video here. Looking at the trades, you can see I started off with a nice win, but then I took another trade. Happened to be the loser, so I didn't give it all back. But then I found the nice trade in the afternoon to really cap off the day of $1,400. So it says 5 for 6. You'll see one of the mistakes here. That if you look at the first trade, I already have them pulled up. Now the first one. Don't shame me. Again, not a beautiful trade. You can read the notes. It says not a good trade again. I should not be in this, but I'm trying new ideas out, putting on risk that I'm comfortable losing early on in the session, having the confidence that I could make it back once I get back to trading my plan, because this is certainly not in my trading plan. But it's an opinion. I think that's the most important note on this markup here. It says fighting all the momentum today, but this is too low in my opinion. But remember, that's an opinion, not a strategy. So at least I call myself out on it, because I'm not claiming that this is a great trade. I'm such a good sniper. You should be doing this too. Absolutely not. I saw opportunity. I put some risk on with a reasonable stop loss, and it worked out today. And it worked out last time, but that does not mean it is going to work out 7 times, 8 times out of 10. It's probably very low probability. I could walk you through it real quick because clearly we're very bearish on the day and actually find more shorts later on in the afternoon. Those are the smarter plays. So just real quick to give it a quick breakdown of, again, too low in my opinion, overextended, that I really just like the way that this candle closed bearish, that if we were going to continue lower, nice and bearish. But that next candle did not follow through with more shorts. It tried to make a new low a day. Left a wick. Buyers actually came in at the end of the candle, flipped us back bullish. So I think we're too low. Sellers really struggled down there. We looked due for a pullback to the daily VWAP. Let's put on a long right back up to there. So I was in and out in 15 minutes because we got a strong pullback to that daily VWAP. That's where I'm trading to, because I easily think we could stop there and turn back in trend. So I'm not holding this for too long at all. It worked out. Not a beautiful trade. Then once that's pulling back to the daily VWAP, now I'm trading back in the direction of trend. This is back on ES on the 1-minute chart. So we saw this drift down at the open. Just watching it slide. This is on the 2-minute chart just so you guys can condense the candles and really see. It moved straight down. We had a small pullback here close to New York VWAP. I believe it does break the low a day. That should probably give you a nice 1R if you saw the Futures 2.0 course on ASFX TV. There's probably a break play in here as well as a VWAP bounce off the New York. So if we go to Futures 2.0, there's a bunch of chapters, but the strategy chapters that I'm talking about here, the VWAP break, that's the second one, and the VWAP bounce is his first bounce off the New York VWAP. I think that does give a new low a day. But regardless, then we get the full pullback to New York VWAP. I put on a short, not with a stop loss right at current structure. I went with these pins back here just to give it a little bit more room because, again, we hadn't touched the daily VWAP here on ES yet. So we might want to give that full space to it. So I give it 17 points. Yes, I'm in before the lower day VWAP break, so a good lesson on this one could definitely be if I waited for that extra confirmation for sellers to be 100% back in, aka a break of the lower day VWAP, that could have been a way better trade because sellers never take this. So it's a great short or it's a good short, not a great short, because sellers definitely could have shown a little bit more strength. So I take that loss. I think it's healthy. It's definitely in line with the higher time frame trend. It's off my key level VWAP. If this were to bounce for a new low a day, I'd be upset that I didn't get this good price at New York. I don't have it marked off here, but initial balance low is set here. If you guys have seen any of these videos, I talk about the electoral reports all the time that we probably only break one side. So being that we took out the bottom, we now probably don't come all the way up here. Why? Because that would be a double break of the initial balance levels, which I didn't even check it today. I did check it today. I don't remember off the top of my head. That's very unlikely that we go and break both sides. So you can see the single break. This is 14 for 51. How's this filtered? Initial balance, 6 months. We could do by size. It was 0.123. It was 1.2% today. So they don't even have a filter for that goes that high. So out of initial balances range that big, 1 out of the last 11 in the last 6 months, because they don't often happen that big. Let's how about the year? In the past year, there's been 17 initial balances this big, 1.23% on the top here. And of those 17, only once have we had the strength to break both ends of it. So being that we took out the bottom, I'm really not expecting us to come all the way back up and take the top. The 15 minutes nice and bearish, right? You guys saw this here. That into the day from yesterday, still lower highs and lower lows. We're below yesterday's low, so I'm absolutely looking for shorts because there's a great probability this day wants to end bearish. We're below yesterday's New York VWAP, today's daily VWAP. We obviously just made new lows a day. This is very bearish, and this is just pulling up to the key VWAP I want to trade next. So no doubt about it, I want to be a seller. And if I want to be a seller, this is the price that would work more times than not. So we take that loss. I don't jump right back in. Now the next play is on the 15-minute again. You saw it yesterday in that recap I did. If you haven't seen that video, go check that one out as well. But same idea. We're back at the daily VWAP. Again, this is back on NQ. I've been trading both assets lately. It's definitely guys got to keep you posted on how I'm enjoying that or not enjoying that. But you can see a few arrows here. That's why it's at 6 trades. But I just, again, like the way this candle closed. That buyers try to break us above that daily VWAP, close back underneath it. Clearly a lot of selling pressure at the end of that bar, so I get in short. It does give me a nice push. I don't take profits because it wasn't enough yet, and I want to see more follow through because I think if we're going to continue this trend today, it's going to happen from here, so let's go push. It didn't have the strength to go make a new low a day right then and there. Pulls back up, stops me break even. Then you see the arrow on the right. I get right back in. Same stop loss. It shouldn't want to fill that pin if this is going to hold bearish today. And that's the one that drops 3 consecutive 15-minute closes. And I get a nice exit on that one. If you see the arrow, I have a 1 minute marked up. You'll see it even better. So here's the add-ins. Those 2 arrows here. And there's a blue arrow because I said I meant to add in. But I think I took 2 off because all of a sudden my sells were only 2. And I was at 4. I wanted 6. But I went down to 2. So I think I took size off by accident. So then I added them back in. That's why there's that blue arrow. Thankfully, it didn't cost me any money. But then you can see on the right, stopped out, break even. So then once it's holding up here, all right, I would have been in drawdown, but I'm out of the trade now. Once it starts to come back down and looking like this is going to be our lower high, I get back in, same price, and that's the time it's ready to go. If you look at the exit on that one, thankfully, I had to take profit, and that just got picked up to the tick, or by half a tick, because that would have been annoying to get a break even on this trade as well. After such a nice push, after a nice read, already being my second attempt at it, I definitely don't want to take 2 donuts on this one. So that was the bigger trade today that you guys see that brought up the P&L to $1,400. I mean, I guess leading into that, I was up maybe 4. I think I made $1,000 on that one. So a nice, decent trade there because NQ is very volatile. I mean, that's 93 points. That's a nice move. But again, I think the strongest thing is just the initial balance. I have it somewhere in these notes that, again, yes, we're above the New York VWAP for all this, so it looks like a very tough short. And I'd agree with you. That's definitely not how I normally teach you. You want to be on the right side of all VWAPs, aka why I took this short earlier. But I think the shorts still make sense up here, even if they're not super high probability yet because we're above New York, right? Playing the 15-minute view of things, we're right at a key VWAP, and just knowing statistically we probably don't want to come all the way up here. So I don't expect these buyers to maintain this control up for new highs a day. So I want to get a nice super high sell price. And it doesn't go make new lows a day either. This is the range we stop and finish the day at. So it's super interesting as well. The lesson that we took, if you remember last Friday in February, giant rip, small pullback, giant rip again. The other 2 days that we've just ripped here at the open kind of just sets the range. We made a small new low a day, but the trend just disappears and we kind of just chop. That we're almost out of gas. It's like, oh, that was it. We moved 50 points in the first hour. We're done trending. We're not going to go make new lows and new lows and new lows. So you really want to get a really good price off a bounce, off a key level, off a key view up, because you don't want to be chasing breakouts, like let's say a low a day view up here, or even a low a day view up there. The breakouts aren't working on a day where we're not breaking out. Figure that. So if breakouts aren't working because there's no trend continuation, then I want to be looking for bounce plays or key level bounce price plays, aka off like this 15-minute view up over here, right? Rather than chasing the extension, we don't have enough gas to extend for new lows, new highs. So then I'm not chasing those. We can go back to the trading view here. Another small little lesson on the ES versus NQ. This is ES. So looking at ES, the pin that I liked on NQ that was shorting it, and then back below, notice how we're actually above the daily VWAP. Maybe that's inducing some longs. But you look at NQ, it's actually holding it. So how do I decide or know which one to like? I would just say if one of them is, it's going to keep me in the overall direction that I'm at. So since I was so bearish because this structure is just screaming shorts, lower highs and lower lows all day, shorts are still more favorable. So yes, ES might be above it, But knowing that NQ was right at it and potentially holding it, I'm not looking to long ES yet because I know NQ could reject it and come back down. And even if it was inverse of NQ's a little bit above, but ES is holding it perfectly, I'll trust the one that's more in line with the overall trend and bias that I have. Right? So you don't have to be right on picking which one's going to end up holding, right? ES is above. So is NQ going to get above? It could. But since today is so much more bearish, I'm leaning on the side of almost of what I would prefer to see. And I'd prefer to see this hold. So I'm going to believe NQ over ES today that would probably come back down. So that's why, same thing, we actually pin yesterday's New York VWAP. And that's as high as we go. So it just stays the bearish structure. But again, notice how there's no lower low being made. The range we just set, we exhausted ourselves, and we just chopped the rest of the day. So there was money to be made short, but not that continuation where if you just go back to this Friday rip, good Lord. This is on a 15-minute, by the way, where we're making new lows, new lows, new lows. So any break of a lower day VWAP has a great chance of running for new lows or breaking out. So those plays are going to work. But if you're chasing lower day VWAP breaks on a day where we're not breaking out, it's not going to win the same amount as it would on a trending day. Because now you see it here on the 1 minute. There's nice, clean, lower day VWAP breaks that I am bearish on the day. These wouldn't work because we're not breaking out. So I don't want to take breakout plays. I want to play bounce plays or off a key level, off a key VWAP. So hopefully made money today. Again, to remind anyone, these are all on my Tradeify accounts. So if you want to trade with Tradeify, you can actually use my code Dyer to get 30% off all of these accounts. So if that's where you're looking to trade, if you're looking to the straight to sim funded, I think it's just better to skip the challenge or the combine stage. Straight to sim funded is what I'm trading. I have the one I was making 1,000 on was the 50K that I just started, and I made about 400 on the one that I was already been trading. So that's why it's $1,400 on the day. It wasn't 700 and 700. Two different accounts. So it looks like a nice P&L, and it is a nice P&L, but it wasn't $1,400 per account. Because remember, keep in mind that consistency rule. I just dropped a video on that as well. I really don't want to be making $1,400 per account. That's going to push my payout to like 6K or something like that. So trying to keep it within like 900 or less. But yeah, definitely use my code if you're going to buy some Tradeify accounts. Definitely don't want you paying full price. But other than that, I hope you enjoy the 15-minute way the way I read the 15-minute price action, yesterday's video, today's video. And if it doesn't help put you in some wins yet, hopefully it could just keep you out of some losses for the time being. And then through time, through markups, through practice, it can start putting you in some nice prices and get some nice winning trades out of it, right? Ideally, we want to find wins, but if the best we could do for now is avoid some losers, we'll take that as well. So trade safe. Let me know if you need me. Drop a like down below. Leave a comment if you got any more questions or a video you'd like to see. But other than that, trade safe, and I'll see you guys on the charts tomorrow morning.